World leaders continue talks at the 54th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum in Davos. The week-long meeting wraps up tomorrow, and Team South Africa has been hard at work selling the country as an investment destination, as our business editor Xolani Mbanjwa is about to tell us. Xolani, you are standing by to speak to the Communication and Digital Technologies Minister, Mondli Gungubele. Look at the snow there infecting my speech.
Good morning to yes, indeed. It's quite an eventful day here at the 54th World Economic Forum, and there is a lot of activity that's taking place inside, including where the monetary policies of different African economies are going, and we are also expecting an address by the President of Israel, which is much anticipated as well. But you're right, I'm with our Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies, Mr. Mondli Gungubele. Minister, thank you very much for joining us. What are your big takeaways at WEF 2024? You've had a lot of engagements. So far, what do you take away?
Maybe let me start by saying, Xolani, thank you very much to the opportunity and your viewers. I think the significance of takeaways is linked to the themes of the conference. The main one being rebuilding the trust, security cooperation in a disintegrating world, what could be done to prepare jobs for the new era, climate, nature, energy, and so on. So the significance of the takeaway, you will understand when you look at those themes. Firstly is that what has actually been exposed here for me, having interacted with various countries which are well-resourced, is that in this disintegrating world, digital technology and the information it exposes and shared amongst both developed and undeveloped countries demonstrates how the world is interdependent. Now, the more it is advanced, the more every human being is exposed to internet, the more they will realize the interdependence of humanity globally. That to me is a major takeaway. Secondly, that I was in a session of the champions, current countries that meet together to champion and share successes. One of the things that came out there was the GIGA program of connecting all schools in the world. It's a major, major program which is very successful in Brazil and other countries and so on. What does it do? One of the most biggest threats as the new technology comes is a risk of it deepening inequality that we are dealing with, and also the opportunity of equalizing. Now, connecting all schools, it means all children across the globe, from developed and undeveloped countries, are actually geared to undermine that digital, what we call, divide. So as South Africa, we've already agreed that that GIG program we must actually interface with. Thirdly, is that whilst AI is a major technology that is going to actually demonstrate high level of intelligence with regard to how to deal with the multiplicity of human problems and how to actually provide solutions for those. Also, it is being realized that there are negatives. Now, the biggest debate yesterday was, what do you regulate? Do you regulate research? There seems to be a consensus that you can't regulate research because AI must be allowed to actually develop, to actually improve humanity. But at the same time, you must find a balance between protecting that development and ensuring that the detrimental effects are prevented. So those are some of the debates that have occurred. Of course, the fear of AI images and being different from real images is another big issue, which is a threat to elections, because Xolani can be projected as Xolani, only to find that it's an AI image. Those are some of the issues that the world is worried about. Those are the issues. And thirdly, we were very excited to find how relevant are we in South Africa in our project, which is called SA Connect, where we are connecting mainly rural communities in South Africa. We've already demonstrated Mount Leaf, Kokstad. We are going to be demonstrating Mudimule this month. The impact of what happens to poor people when they are connected. For instance, in Mount Leaf, you realize that in the developing countries, a lot of people build informal settlements around the trade centers to be close to firms, to ask to queue for jobs, at the same time to sell whatever. Now, what we have demonstrated in Mount Leaf and Kokstad is that more than 60% of those things, they can do them sitting at home. They can interact with those firms and actually be protected against incurring cost of traveling for money they do not have.
Yes, yes.
I went to one chap in Mount Leaf selling chicken pieces. Immediately connected them, reducing a gig from 90 to 5 rand. He says his chicken market has tripled in the local community because people didn't know that he's selling what we call chickens. I went to another home, poor community in Kokstad. Children there, you could look at their faces. They were so excited, saying, you know, Minister, we used to work at night to go to library, look for books, some of them we don't find. He says, now we're sitting at home. Just open a phone, get all the literature you want. Poor children, not talking about food, talking about access to education, which at least the worst poor cannot actually be prevented from getting. So that's what this technology is beginning to do.
It's been a huge talking point, Minister, when it comes to how AI and new technologies will create that divide even further between the rich and the poor,
Yes.
the high-income countries and the low-income countries. Something that is outside of your scope of work is something that is quite interesting. We saw the UN Secretary of State here. We are seeing this morning the President of Israel, and a number of people are actually talking to even South African media that is here to say, you are South African. What happened at the International Court of Justice? The country is brave. There's been a lot of discussions about what South Africa did at the International Court of Justice to get the court to declare the conflict in Palestine and Israel a genocide. We saw Anthony Blinken. You attended that session, I'm sure. Your views about how South Africa has been received here, seeing that we have upset the apple cart a little bit in terms of what's happening in the Middle East.
Let me take up front the words of the Minister of Finance when we were about to take off from South Africa. When we said, explain, I'm paraphrasing him, how do we get ill-treated when we take a dispute to the established adjudication institutions which are meant for that purpose? Should we go to war or should we go to those institutions? How can anyone hate us for that? And actually what he said has been vindicated here. The acceptance we have here, not a single person, by the way, even those who thought of actually hating us, I'm sure they did hide it, because the spirit here, when you are wearing this what to call, this scarf and this flag, the acceptance is high. One lady from Palestine met me here about a few years ago, says the Colombian president said the liberty principles have been taken away from Paris to South Africa. In other words, that there is no resolution of human prosperity that will ever come from wars, from armed conflict. That's why, in spite of a lot of things Mr. Blinken said yesterday, what he had struggled to explain is the role of America in the war that is going on now in Israel. There's a lot of important things that he said which you could actually were very instructive. But what he could not explain is the role of America in Israel. So the difficulty is there is no one, no matter how brilliant you are, who can explain the viability of armed conflict in translating to human prosperity.
It's really strange how that is actually filtering on the ground when you are talking to different people, businessmen, trying to explain America's backing of Israel Israel when it comes to this particular conflict. It's been quite an interesting take from everybody else. Let's talk about the fact that we are trying as a country to bring investment into the country, competing with other countries, including neighboring countries, and trying to go for the same money bags. Are we succeeding in doing that? It is a tough duty to do that in an environment where the public finances are not doing so great, and we are all competing for the money that is diminishing.
You know, Xolani, what is highly respected about South Africa are the progressive policies that we stand for from conception as a democracy. Whether it's independent judiciary, whether it's non-racialism, non-sexism, unity, and so on. Whilst they see some of our shortcomings, but what is key is that we are firm on those policies. I guess whoever you want to relate with is what that person stands for. And then you can deal with the weaknesses of actually achieving what you stand for. What actually takes South Africa up and actually enjoy attraction and respect is because we stand for the principles that have passed the global test in as far as human liberty is concerned. So generally, people still believe that there is hope that South Africa can turn around, and we have actually shared with them the interventions that are being made, the partnership between private sector and ourselves to deal with the logistics, the Transnet issue, the interventions on load shedding, and the reform that the president is leading, and even private sector speaks about those. We are not, we're not going to, we have not reached a point where we give up on a country so well founded.
Minister, thank you very much for your time.